Hello again. Well, I'm here in the beautiful Solomon Islands with an enthusiastic group of young people. Speaking of which, I'd like to introduce you to Trevor and Helen Oliver. How are you guys?
Great.
Really well,
Terrific.
Now, you guys are the coordinators of the Sonship Ministry, which has been operating for how many years in the Solomon Islands now?
10 years now. This is our 10th year.
How did that actually start, Trevor?
Oh, well, when we were youth leaders at Hillview Church, we wanted the youth to go on an exciting adventure for God, and so we decided to come here to the Western Solomon Islands.
But what I find interesting about that, Trevor, is that even though you started with a sort of short-term mission trip model, you really have a very full-time project on your hands now, which is the Medicine Ship project. So why are you still organising short-term mission trips for young people?
Well, sometimes we really ask that question, Ken, should we keep going? But every time we bring a group, we have such a wonderful time and they experience such an incredible experience themselves. We say, well, we must keep doing this.
Yeah. Now, Helen, for you, the Solomon Islands and the Western Solomons in particular is a very special place for you. You grew up here, isn't that right?
I did. I was born in Honiara and grew up at Kukundu for 13 years. I was here before I had to go home for school, high school.
And finally you managed to drag Trevor along, but he didn't like it, did he?
No, he hated his first trip. That took me 15 years of married life to bring him here.
Well, there you go. There's a message in persistence for all you married people out there. So we've been here doing a couple of things as a team. I've got my team T-shirt on as well, so I'm right into it. This is what you called embedded journalism, people. Embedded journalism. Right, a part of it. So obviously the Kukundu Clinic was a big part of what we were doing. What was that all about, Trevor?
Yeah, well, 10 years ago, the first team adopted the clinic at Kukundu, and since then, this is the third time that we've come back and rejuvenated it, painted it, added things to it. So this was just a continuation of the first team.
And this whole adopted clinic concept has really caught on, hasn't it? I mean, all across Australia now, we have local churches that have adopted medical clinics in remote areas and in towns and cities, I guess, in Papua New Guinea and here in the Solomon Islands.
Yes, right across the Pacific, yes.
And it all started with you guys.
Yeah, and Hillview Church. Yeah, we had the vision and yeah, it's continued. It's great.
Awesome stuff. So apart from let's talk about the clinic renovations. What have we managed to accomplish there, Helen?
Well, amazing things, really. The first team that's been able to do the inside, the outside, put a covered walkway over, do some landscaping even. What else?
Plus a couple of beautiful murals that the ladies have painted.
That's the best.
They're just fabulous.
Best. The locals are just in awe of the artistic gifts these ladies have.
But most of the painting was a little more workmanlike, wasn't it? Just the old roller and brush special.
Yeah.
I've got to say it was a little bit easier because of the two teams that went before. They'd done a lot of the prep work, of course, so every time it gets easier and we can do it quicker.
Okay, now another important part of the trip, and I know there were people who came along this time really because they love doing this, is getting out to villages and churches and doing kids clubs. How did you see the success of that this time, Helen?
Just the same as every year. The kids and the local people just are in awe that we all spend so much money getting here just for them. You know, they just really appreciate it. So it's just another, a bonus in their life that they have met so many Australian people that care about them individually. To take time out and money to come and help them. Even if it's just a kids club, it's giving them a blessing to know that there's somebody else in the other part of the world that cares about them.
Yeah. Now, on a more personal level, both of you guys have been, struggling a bit with your health lately. I know you, Helen, had a bit of a scare where you didn't think you'd be able to actually come on this trip, but, thank God you're here. And I've had the misfortune of sleeping in the same house as Trevor and hearing him coughing away at night. So I know you've got a few struggles there. Does this sort of worry you? Do you, in terms of being able to come out here on a regular basis?
Of course, everybody has a limit to the time they can spend out here. But our philosophy is if God gives us strength, we'll keep coming. And when he doesn't want us anymore, well, that strength will stop. But it's amazing that every day you get up and God gives you the ability to keep going. So we praise Him, and we'll continue to do so.
Wow, and something else you were saying to me just before, like a couple of days ago, Trevor, is that medical services and health services in the Solomon Islands are actually really improving, and you're actually wondering if the Medicineship project is really, is there any sense in it going forward? What do you see for the future of the Medicineship project in particular?
Yeah, I think we have to adapt to the times, and certainly there are more small clinics being established in more remote places. And our service might change from being actual medical service to supporting the little clinics that are now emerging. And Kakundu itself is being upgraded as a regional hospital with doctors and extra nurses coming. So our role might be to transport patients, bring people to those services instead of taking the service to them. So
it's a sort of a marine ambulance service, is that what you're talking about?
That's very much so, and even the island of Columbunga has got a road going around it that's almost complete, so therefore a land ambulance may be able to do the job that we've had to do by boats. So we've got to be willing to adapt, to grow and to expand with the facilities.
I know the team that has travelled this time has really seen evidence of God's leading. Are there any particular incidents, either during this trip or generally, that have really jumped out?
Look, just first of all, getting here, we always have to provide so much equipment, and this time the ships were all running late. Our crate actually arrived with all our goods on the very day that the team arrived, and we were grateful to God that happened. If it hadn't have arrived, we wouldn't have had any equipment to do any jobs at all. So those sort of things we take for granted back home, but out here we really see God's hand, because He makes sure everything comes when we need it.
Hey, God bless you two so much. Your ministry is inspirational, to me personally, as someone who goes to the same church as you. And I know that a lot of our viewers, I really hope you've been inspired by the story and by what's been accomplished just by this one short mission trip and by the years of service that these guys have given. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. It's been great having you on the trip.
Yeah.